Oh, damn, hold up.
It's live.
All right, I was going to do the intro.
Oh, you know where to go?
She said she put up. Yeah, I see it. There
It's
we
right
go.
there.
Yes, sir.
Peace, peace to the
Peace, peace,
family.
peace, peace. We come before you in the mind state of elevation, standing on a strong legacy of spiritual masters, healers, and powerful prayer warriors. We acknowledge our connection to Source and our honored and elevated ancestors. We are humble servants of the community. May we be properly guided with every word that we speak. Ashe. So,
Ashe.
yeah, we coming in. Welcome to today's Temple Talk. Temple Talk Sundays. It's just me and Jabari today. We're going to, bring it home, launch it off and bring it home. We have a very important topic to speak about today. And, well, how you doing, brother? First of all, let me give you the greetings, sir.
Hey man, spirit is strong, definitely strong.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Can't stop.
you
Won't
know,
stop.
in the midst of adversity and just different things in life. That's what life is. You know what I mean? Good, bad, ugly, and you know, you gotta be able to find your spirit and pick your spirit up and keep it moving.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right. That's right. So today's topic is staying awake. It's called living mindfully, staying awake in our most challenging moments. Um, of course, we got to define wakefulness. I'm going to be coming from the wisdom of my teacher, Shaha Mfundishi Masi, peace be upon him. He's now an ancestor, an elevated ancestor. Um, he's taught us, for well over 60 years, you know, of course, not me individually for 60 years because I'm not even 60 years old,
How
but
long was
he
you with him?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
2002 until he departed in 2022. Yes, 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 yes. And he's a grandmaster, a master teacher, grandmaster in the martial arts, master teacher um, in the meditative arts, in the art of mindful living, in the various spiritual arts. Um, and he was a very strong, participant and leader in the Black Power movement, um, in the civil rights movement back in the 60s and 70s. And he's always been just a strong warrior and teacher and a strong presence in the community and on the planet. And, we have to begin to share his story, as one of his students, I have to begin to, share his story more. But today's topic dealing with mindfulness, being awake, is very important to us learning how to function together in a healthy way and in a functional way as a people, as a community, as families. Um, so the topic is called, let me pull up my notes. I got all these notes. My bad, I'm hitting the wrong buttons.
Watch
All right.
yourself, man.
So, in understanding how we interact as a people, and the levels of functionality that we want to attain and ascend to, we have to begin to be very aware of our own mental and emotional conditions and states, and how certain events, certain words, certain experiences can actually trigger our trauma and certain unresolved issues that we may have. And when our trauma is triggered, I'm sure many of us have heard plenty of times that when your trauma is triggered, the behaviors and the instincts and the emotions uh, get into flight, fight, and freeze mode, you know, so survival response. And a lot of times our survival responses are inappropriate to certain situations, especially when we're relating to one another in close relationships, but just human relationships, period. You know, something may be said to trigger your fear, and it causes you to react to protect yourself, whether it's a verbal reaction or a physical reaction. And these reactions create a certain condition in the body mind of stress. And as humans, we are not designed to stay under a constant stressful condition, because what that does is it attacks the adrenals, which sit on top of the kidneys, and it attacks the kidneys. And the kidneys are the battery organ system for the body. They give you your energy, your something called Zheng, kidney Zheng, which is your energetic supply of chi and life force energy, or Ngolo, which is your self-healing power. And we all have a certain finite amount of that throughout our lifetime. Although there are things that we can do to refine it and to increase it, but we have to understand the science of energy practices. And one of these sciences that, I learned from my teacher Shaha, which is called Dikatisa Ngolo, which is the art and science of regenerating your self-healing power. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the ways you do that is, for one, you got to protect your gates. You got to monitor what you allow to enter your gates. It could be, these gates can be gates of illness or gates of healing. Your gate is your eye gate, your nose gate, your mouth gate, your ear gate, and also dealing with your skin. What you touch. So it's what you see, what you smell, what you put into your mouth, and what you hear. But also primarily the mind gate, what you think. But all of these other gates influence what's happening in the mind, and it can determine your state of wellness and well-being, or your state of illness.
Right.
Now, stress, we know, I've heard Baba Dick Gregory, peace be upon him, state many times that stress is actually the number one killer of us. You see? And so, yeah, we may have, certain dietary changes we need to transform and regulate. We may need to exercise more. We may need to just make certain lifestyle changes. But the most thing that we need to look at is our stress levels,
Yeah.
which is how our interactions with one another influence our stress levels. Is your interaction and your relationship increasing your stress or decreasing your stress? Because we know there's a certain amount of challenge that we all face when we step outside the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then so when we come home, it should be a space of refuge where all the members in the home are working together to reduce stress, to relieve stress. Okay. And so, but part of being able to do that is having a lifestyle of mindfulness, living mindfully, being aware of yourself, how you feel, aware of your energy state, aware of your mind state. Before you interact with anyone, where is your mind? Where is your energy? Where is your spirit? Okay. And so I want to bring up just a few examples just to reference the conversation a little better or a little further. Just a few examples of things that tend to happen, or behaviors that we tend to get caught up in when there's a lack of mindfulness, which means a lack of understanding of self and a lack of acceptance of self.
Well, can I
Yes.
from what you're saying, like a lot of us learn this stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Like how to deal with this stuff when we come up in even coming up in the school system, or how you deal with people. You know what I mean? Like like I when I coming through high school, I ain't getting one fight, not one fight. You know what I mean? But I wasn't like a, I wasn't no chump dude at the same time. But
Mhm.
it's knowing how to engage people. You know what I'm saying? Like you can, some people go, they look for fights. I have friends that be like, man, I'm trying to go to the club. I'm gonna knock somebody out tonight. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
intention of it was, what I mean, to go in and they was open to some drama. You know what I'm saying? When we went to the club, we was going to the club trying to see how many numbers we can get in the girls. However, we was down for. I mean, we was down for each other if we had to fight, and we was
Mhm.
tied in enough. You know what I mean? If we had to fight, but we was looking for girls with our intention. But a lot of us, good training because I went to some of the worst high schools and middle schools in Baltimore. I went to Hearn Run, which was one of the worst schools, and then I went to Patterson High School, and it's just knowing how to, what I'm saying, how do you handle being triggered? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you handle certain things? Some things, you better not get too triggered, you know what I'm saying? Because, you had crews of people that went to Hearn Run and they would travel with like 30 people at a time. So, you better learn how to balance out what it is, or you're gonna get stomped down. But how do you deal with that without getting, without seeming very fearful at the same time? Because if you come off fearful, they're gonna stomp you down. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
or they're gonna bully you. They're gonna do certain things. You know what I mean? So it's a way that you got to know how to channel your energy. To seem like you just no threat at all. Like, man, you used to messing with him. His energy doesn't attract us. So if you're too scared, the energy will attract you. And if you overly, what I'm saying, overly aggressive, the energy will attract you. How do you exist there to learn how to handle socially, how to move forward in those crazy places, crazy spaces? Because we had lots of crews that was there, but then,
Mhm.
what I'm saying, like, I was able to have respect within those crews where I never even had to fight, in general, because I never came off as a threat to
Yeah.
any of those people. I never that's not where my vibe was and where my energy was and all.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us find ourselves into situations of conflict that could have been avoided if our egos were in check. Sometimes your ego can get flared up, and you respond to a situation uh, in a way that's just going to exacerbate the negative side of it. So
Yeah,
as a youth, then it really depends on your level of confidence.
yeah,
And unfortunately, the younger you are, the less confidence people usually have. So
right.
then it depends on your upbringing and your household and how well your parents and your siblings and everything are helping to give you a sense of self,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you go out into the world, you have an armor around you emotionally and mentally, so that you're not feeling that the peer pressure to follow along with the trends, or to mimic other people's behavior because they may seem like the dominant popular ones in school. you know and we know, in our community, playing the dozens, joning on one another, busting on one another, with the jokes and everything. If you don't have a good level of self-esteem, some people will get mad and start fighting. I've even heard of people being killed or murdering people based on a game of the dozens that they just couldn't handle.
Yeah, yeah. When they get to be too personable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people start saying, that's why your mother crackhead, and somebody's mother is really
Right.
on drugs, and start to
Right.
get real crazy. But how many
Right.
times too, we know coming up where we just took things way too far, and you got that stick or you got that rock and you put it on somebody's shoulder and said, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I bet you ain't gonna knock his father on the ground. You know what I mean? The person go like, yeah, that's his father right there on your shoulder. That's him right there. Yo, please, no, don't tell me he gonna knock your father off it. Don't tell
Right.
me you're gonna knock your mother off the shoulder. Then boom,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, he knocked
Right.
your mother on the phone. Yeah.
Right.
And, and if you unstable, like, yo, you just knocked my mother on the ground, yo. You just knocked my father on the ground. And people instigate those.
And sometimes, you gotta defend yourself, rather verbally or physically, to even maintain your own sense of well-being and sense of self.
Right.
Because if you surrounded all the time by people that's bullying you, that's a lot of pressure coming into you mentally, and that
Yeah.
can crush you. Okay, so eventually you're going to have to exert some pressure, meaning, all right, I'm gonna have to defend myself. I can't have people just dragging me all the time, whether mentally or physically. So in order for you to really defend yourself, you have to have a certain level of self-confidence and a
Yeah.
certain level of self-love and understanding of who you are. So the
Right.
opposite extreme of responding too much out of ego would be not responding at all and shrinking and disappearing. You
Right.
know, no, we got to find a healthy balance. Whereas, I'm confident, I'm strong, and I feel good about myself. So I'm not going to allow your words and such to control me. So I'm not going to be triggered into, like they say, trick yourself out of your freedom as far as, getting triggered into committing crimes or doing stuff, catching the bait, getting in trouble. But at the same time, I'm not going to let you abuse me. So we're going to have to establish some type of respect here.
Yeah, and
You know?
it's just like, yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, and I know I keep bringing up stuff because as you talk, I just keep bringing up just certain instances where you have to know how to control yourself. Because if you don't, it's just not a good thing. You know what I mean? We used to go to the club to the Paradox. You know what I mean? And it'd be
Mm-hmm.
like 5 or 6 of us. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
then Murphy Holmes would come down there, and they would have like 50 people and jump the whole line.
Mm-hmm.
What we gonna do at that point? Like, no, yo, that's some yo. Come on with that punk shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? We
Mm-hmm.
just gotta look at each other like, oh well, that's a fight that
Yeah.
we can't take up right now.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to get in with this girl. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So y'all employed the art of war.
of
You know,
course,
you
that's
can't
all.
successfully and consistently employ the art of war strategy if you just moving out your ego and you just reacting emotionally
Yeah,
because your ego is triggered. Be like, you know what? Let's live to fight another day.
yeah. Like, hey,
We can't win
ain't
this
that
one.
big of a deal. We ain't that far back anyway. We trying to get in here anyway. You know what I
Right,
mean? So, me, hey, look, what you
right,
gonna do? You know,
right. And so in them situations, you could decide, to fall back right then, and you know what it is for the next time you come. You beef up your crew, or you don't go in those type of environments.
like most of the time, like you said, if you because it's not really that big of a deal. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So I mean, it's
right,
not like we gonna get such Murphy home ain't gonna do that because you're going down there with the intention to fight. Now,
right,
you know what I'm saying? But no,
right.
you just I mean, it didn't hurt us really. I mean, okay, yeah, they all got in first, but
Hmm.
so what, we want to fight or we want to get in here and have fun and dance and party.
Right,
That was our intention. You know what I
right.
mean? So we would kind of laugh about it after a while, like, damn, but they just okay. Oh what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's
Well,
sometimes
y'all
when
got
people,
that. Y'all got
huh?
y'all got the Army Brigade. Y'all got that. All right, go ahead,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah,
Hey, y'all looking strong, bro.
yeah,
The mature mind can turn the whole thing around and make it a positive thing. Like,
Na-
damn, y'all stepping hard.
yeah. Now the thing
Damn,
is,
what's up?
though,
Respect, brother. Respect. Y'all got that.
yeah. The thing is though, we always knew they were gonna be the inside anyway. But like now, if we had to fight, there was always a rule like we got to fight, we gonna fight.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But we ain't here to pick no fights. You know what I'm saying? You got a problem, we got problems. Then that's what it's gonna be. But
right.
we're not, our intent is not to come here to fight, and we got to use the art of war like you said, you know what I mean, to survive in these places. I mean, to survive in the streets of Baltimore or any city or anywhere. You
Even
got to
even
know
when
how and when, because it's not always wise, you know what I mean, to say what's on your mind or to do certain things, because it's just not wise and intelligent.
yeah, I mean, even when dealing with the police, see,
Yeah,
we more so easily submit to the police, but we have a more mental difficulty submitting to our own brothers. Meaning,
yeah,
we know, okay, we can't win if we battle with the police because they're gonna bring the army, basically.
yeah,
Their army of their gang. They're gonna bring their gang, and their gang usually you outman and you outarm, right? But we see a group of brothers, man. Who the f they think they are, man?
yeah,
Nah, I ain't letting that ride. Like, nah, you know what? They got the army, they got the numbers. I'm not gonna win this battle. Y'all go ahead,
yeah,
you know. And so it's about staying awake in the moment, because that's
yeah,
a moment of challenge. Because
yeah,
we all got egos, and
yeah,
when
we do.
somebody challenging you, like your manhood, it's natural and it's instinctive to respond. And your ego responds like, because I don't, if my woman is with me, I don't want to be looking a certain way. I can't let nobody play me, type of thing.
Yeah.
And look, that's understandable. That's
Mm-hmm.
very understandable. But we got to be awake enough and conscious enough to wisely choose our battles and how to respond in certain situations. Because if you look at the outcome of a situation, if you could possibly get hurt or killed, or someone else get hurt or killed, and you're in prison, then
Yeah.
you always gonna think back, be like, nah, that wasn't worth it, man.
Yeah.
I could have
Yeah.
responded a different way. All I had to do is give up my ego for the moment, and then I could have avoided all this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like even when it comes to like, I mean, just basic stuff. I mean, a lot of people get into road rage fights. You know what I mean? I mean, and tell people and cut people off and do all kinds of stuff. And people, man, I saw, you know what I mean, a couple times people get out the car and try to get people out the car, and it's just on some regular. I don't take stuff that serious on the road, bro. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Every now and again, you know what I mean? Even if I stop somewhere at car stop, I try to wait for a few, you know what I mean, for a few seconds, see what's going on. Now, when I was younger, I was a little less, you know what I mean, with that. Come on, like, bam, 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 bam. I was a little less patient with that. As I got older, I'm like, it ain't that serious. Like, I used to do stuff like, if a car would try to pass me, I would speed up real fast and all
yeah,
until I was in a car with an elder one day, and you know, somebody tried to do that and I sped up, you know what I mean? He looked at me, he said, why you just do that? I was like, no, because he was trying to jump in front of me. He said, what was it really like that serious? Like, you know, I was like, and I thought about it, I was like, it really wasn't. I mean, I see people trying to come and cut me off now. I slow down. You know what I mean? Like, hey, up, you got somewhere to go. Let me go. Because it's like I try to do stuff to keep, you know, as much as I can to keep myself out of that energy. You
yeah,
know, so when I'm on a road, I don't take it that serious like a
right,
lot of people do. A lot of people just take it very, very serious when they on the road. I mean, they just,
right.
you know, fussing all the whole time while they driving. But I don't. I can't really take it that serious. Every now and again, somebody will do something where I might be like, "Come on, man." You know, I might hit the.
Yeah.
This is every now and again though. Every now and then,
Mhm.
because you don't know what's going on when somebody's driving in their car. Why are they driving slow? Are they driving slow because their car is broke? Are they driving slow because they just got some bad news and you know what I mean they can't get
Exactly.
themselves together? It's many different reasons because I know I've done it. I've had to drive slow because my car was like, look, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all just don't know. My rotor is messed up. But people in the back
Wow.
of they don't know. They just like, come on, man, why you out there? Take it on the road. You know, they have no clue. They don't know. You know, are you driving slow because you know, like I was teaching my daughter how to drive, you know, but some people, they don't know that you're teaching them how to drive. They just like, come on, man. Come
Mhm.
on, you know, get off the road. So you don't know what the situation is when a person is doing something or doing certain things. It ain't always just because they're an asshole.
Yeah,
Sometimes it is. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes it is, but not all the time.
yeah, yeah. In those cases, I put on my flashers if I'm going to be going extraordinary slow.
Yeah.
I remember one time I had this van, and the brakes was just so messed up. No matter what I did to try to fix them and get them fixed, I would have to put my feet all the way down
Oh my God.
as far as the brakes could go, and it still took me a long time to slow down. And, and I'm driving slow as heck,
That's
and,
yeah.
I, and I'm putting enough space between the person in front of me in case I got to slow down and they slow down and I got to slow down, come to a stop. That very stupid and dangerous.
Yeah.
But the people behind me didn't know.
Yeah. They don't know what's going
They,
on.
they don't know. So you could be, and like as being a truck driver for 20 years now, I've learned that there's no room on the road for egotistical driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like you're saying, like people, because people, nobody like to be behind a big truck. So
Yeah.
they always trying to speed around.
Yeah.
Just let them go. And I see other truck drivers coming bullying people, coming all up on their butt just to intimidate them so they move out the way. I hate that. Because especially if you got a load on you, it's so heavy that if that person slam their brakes on, a big truck can't stop fast enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm driving. If I'm driving slow on the road, it's to protect myself and everybody around me.
Right.
But
Right.
people might get annoyed, but I understand something that you don't understand.
Right.
You
Right.
see, so yeah, I like what you said. Is you always got to have the bigger picture of the possibility that it could be something that you just don't understand. So
Yeah.
just be patient, and
Yeah.
when you can get around safely, get around.
Because somebody will get out that car and shoot you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like you thinking that, you know what I'm saying, you saying something or giving somebody the middle finger and all that kind of stuff, man. People be going through stuff, man. You know,
I had one
you
incident.
know.
I don't know what happened and why we started putting the finger up at each other. I can't even remember. But dude was like, pull over, pull over. He wanted to fight. And I thought about I was about to go, but I was like, you know what? I don't know this dude. I don't know what he got. I don't know what he's trying to do. It ain't that serious. You
Yeah.
know, now ego is like, oh man, I punked out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But reality is if I pulled over and he killed me or I killed him, none of that would have been worth it.
Yeah.
You fighting on the side of the road and traffic coming. One of y'all push each other, or y'all both wrestle and go in front of a car, truck, and both get rolled. Stupid. Because what?
How was that worth it? You know,
It's not worth
at the
none of
end of
it.
the day, you going to jail, or you ain't here no more, or you in the hospital. Like, you know, and as you going to, you know, I know as you read from your teacher, you know, like, you fight only when necessary, only when you have no other choice but to fight. You know, that's when that's when you have to do it.
Right.
When there's no other way out, it's like, ah, man, you know, now
Right.
I got to protect myself.
Right. And usually people are dealing with deep-rooted psychological fear when they react to challenges violently. Like if that's their only option and go-to. You
Right.
know, it could be the fear of getting hurt, but not necessarily always the fear of getting hurt. But the fear of being looked at as weak.
Right.
That's a fear too.
Yeah.
If I don't respond to this
Yep.
person
Mm-hmm.
with the equal violence that they're suggesting, I'm not saying that they put their hands on you. I'm just saying verbally they talking shit and they being real disrespectful. If I
Yeah.
don't respond violently to this, I'm going to look weak.
Yeah.
So then I'm respond violently out of fear.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So I'm still protecting something. It's still like a survival move, because if I look weak, you know, that's just gonna crush me. I can't be looking weak.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanna show this clip and to illustrate another point pertaining to this. Hold up, I gotta share it first. Let's see. Can you see that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right, let me hit play.
About what happened on board that subway. A man with a gun gets on board, and at some point, multiple shots are fired.
Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez is live at the Hoyt Skibberhorn station. And Ashley, you actually talked to a woman who was on the train.
Oh, yes. And this was just a traumatic and terrifying experience for commuters who are just thankful to be alive today after 4 shots rang out inside the train. Now, the NYPD says this is just one incident, but that rider I spoke to, she said this was all she needed to live through to know that she never wants to ride the train in New York City again.
I don't want to be in New York. I don't think it's safe for me.
Sherry Paul clutches a pillow as she recounts Thursday night's subway shooting that left riders panicked as a man was shot in the head before their eyes.
I heard him screaming and I lifted up my head and I saw him.
Sherry was able to record the moment a 36-year-old man began to randomly provoke a 32-year-old man. Police say they have evidence the 36-year-old evaded the fare, a strong indicator he was up to no good. Once on the A train near the Hoyt Schermerhorn station, Sherry says the victim tried to ignore the 36-year-old as he appeared mentally ill. But she says the 36-year-old kept acting aggressively, arguing and physically attacking the victim. The victim's companion tried to intervene, pulling out a knife and stabbing the attacker. But police say the attacker had a gun, the sight of it sending terrified riders running to the other end of the train, trying to hide under seats. Let me out! Let me out! As the situation escalated, the 32-year-old was able to grab the gun out of the attacker's hand and open fire, shooting off 4 rounds, one of them hitting the 36-year-old in the head. Sherry says she was trampled by terrified commuters trying to escape as police on the platform quickly entered the train.
We all heard about what happened yesterday, but nobody's talking about the millions and thousands of people that got to their destination safe.
All right, so hold on, let me. All right, so I was trying to look at like some other earlier clips. This was like a little over a month ago. I was trying to look at some other clips, but I couldn't find them. Of this brother went on the subway and he just started provoking people, talking about he was, gonna, whoop somebody's ass or whatever. And he was like saying something like to like quote unquote foreigners or people that of a Latino background. I think he was alluding to, like, how in New York, like in Chicago too, got all of these immigrants coming.
Yeah, they taking all the jobs and stuff
yeah,
like that.
And it's causing all of these, like, problems.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of black people standing up saying, this is not right.
Yeah.
So he was like, he was addressing when a group of these immigrants had gotten to a scuffle with some of the police because they was allegedly stealing something from a store, and the police tried to stop them, and they got in a scuffle, and the scuffle was on video. But he was talking about, y'all can't be, y'all ain't gonna be coming here, beating up police, this and this and that. I'm gonna beat y'all up and stuff. And so he was just talking shit on the train. And then one of his Latino dudes stepped up to, square up with him. But, dude he was a little bigger than the Latino dude, so he was getting the best of him. But then a woman that was with the Latino dude took a knife out and started stabbing him in the back. And then he's like, oh, and he said, oh, you want to stab me? And he went in his bag, got a gun, right? Threatening him with the gun. But the Latino cat took the gun from him and shot him in the head.
Oh.
But he let off 4 shots. One of them shot him in the head. But to my knowledge, he didn't die.
Oh, he didn't die. Oh, okay.
To my knowledge, I was looking for an update. I couldn't find an update, but they said, last report I heard was that he was in stable but critical condition. And the Latino cat, he wasn't charged. It was self-defense because the brother was wilding out. But my point in bringing this up is, like, when I hear the things that he was saying, he was like in a deranged emotional state, because he was provoking people. Ain't nobody mess with him, and he was saying things like he seemed like he was tormented about something mentally.
Yeah,
he wasn't all together.
Yeah, he probably lost his job or something, or whatever. I don't know what it may have been. Yeah,
it could have been anything. It could have been anything that to tick him off like that.
Yeah.
But then, so you got whatever trauma that he bringing on the subway that he went through, then he's triggered by something, and now he's projecting and provoking other people. But then now he's victimizing a whole group of people and traumatizing them because he provoking a fight, and then he bring a gun, and then now the gun get taken and shots go off, and then you got all these people panicking. So now all these people got trauma. They got all this trauma. As you heard the sister say, the one who videotaped the thing, she said she can't even get on the subway. She don't even want to ride the subway no more. She don't even want to be in New York no more.
Right.
So when these things happen, a lot of people are affected. But these things, like people that commit certain crimes, we think, all right, yeah, they just criminals. But we don't know that these people may be mentally and emotionally tormented by something, and they're not in a right balanced state of mind.
Yeah.
And so with that, I wanted to speak about, being awake, because now, like, for example, the young sister or the people who were riding on the train who traumatized, you see how they were panicking and all of that, you see? And so now just the idea of getting on the subway may provoke trauma. Like if they have to go on the subway to get to work, some of them could be going through panic attacks.
Right.
And some of them could have had nightmares, and then some of them could overreact. Somebody come on the subway that reminds them of the dude that started the whole thing, could create a traumatic reaction.
A lot of times people do get on subways and stuff and act out. Wasn't that Colin Ferguson back in the day? Went on the train he got on?
Yeah, he went. That was the guy that went and started shooting up white people, though, right?
Yeah, but I think something that happened, like he lost his job, he lost his job or something. But you say it all the time, like people in schools, whatever, but it's always like something happened where they lose their job or something something happens and they just snap and they like, you know what, I'm going out in the public and I'm going to, do this and I'm going to do that, So,
Right. So the point that I'm looking to make here is we all may have been traumatized by something. We all have certain things that can trigger us into reacting instinctually and emotionally to protect ourselves, to survive. Sometimes we may even misread a situation because we're triggered. You got to understand, when we're triggered emotionally, we're not always seeing things clearly, because we're seeing the trauma and we're trying to protect ourselves from the trauma. And so sometimes the methods of protection we use could be very harsh to others, especially if it's unwarranted.
Right.
So it's important for us to learn how to stay awake in these moments of challenges. You've got to understand, when you're reacting out of your survival state of consciousness, you're really unconscious. You're on automatic. The animal, the reptile, the mammal part of the brain that is responsible for survival instinct is activated. So your wisdom faculty is shut down. So it's just like looking into a clear pond of water and you can clearly see your reflection, but when you throw a pebble, the vision of your reflection gets distorted. The trigger is like the pebble that's distorting your vision. And so now it brings up all of these emotions. And you find that if you can wake up in that moment and observe your breathing, that you're having short, shallow breaths. Just like, when you look at mammals like dogs and cats, they breathe very quickly. And dogs,
Right.
especially, out of their mouths.
Right. Right. Yeah.
They're locked within their instincts. We have the ability to slow our breathing down and have full, complete breaths. When you do that, you shut down the animal brain from being in charge. You deactivate that and you activate the frontal lobes, which helps you to concentrate, to calm down, to see things clearer. And then you also activate something called the vagus nerve that Shaha always emphasized that we learn about. That vagus nerve is responsible for calming the system down once your adrenaline has been triggered, because the adrenaline, we know, that's triggered survival mode. Something happens, it frightens you. You feel the adrenaline. You feel that thing in your stomach. That's that adrenaline alerting you. Okay, it's the vagus nerve that calms the system down to balance the system back. If your vagus nerve is too weak and out of tone, then you will have a hard time calming down. So there's certain practices and things you do to strengthen your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve regulates the blood pressure. It calms your stress levels. It helps, a lot of things dealing with your autonomic nervous system, things that you don't have conscious control over, that your body regulates, on its own without you thinking about it. Like your heart constantly beating and pumping blood. But we know that, with hypertension, your blood vessels are tense. That's why I call it hypertension. You got too much tension in your body, and now your heart is struggling to push blood through and to circulate.
Right.
So that is stress.
Right.
So stress can occur from accumulated, bad diet and things, cholesterol, whatever, clogging up your veins and arteries. But stress and hypertension and high blood pressure, also, if you have a lifestyle that is constantly stressful, if your thinking and perception of things is constantly in a me against the world or a fearful type of thing, that you always feel like you always got to protect yourself. The human being was not meant or designed to be in that constant survival mode.
Right.
Because what it does is it weakens the nervous system. It weakens your capacity to think, and it weakens your brain capacity and your brain structure. And eventually, over time, you can develop debilitating diseases
Yeah.
as a result of long-term stress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, with that in mind, how much time we got? Because I know, well, shoot, it's already 11 o'clock. We won't, but I need to complete this process. So I'm not going to read as much as I intended, but I got to share some of these excerpts because in Shaha Mfundishi's book called The Awakened Warrior, you can get that on Amazon. You can get it in the physical form or in Kindle. If matter of fact, do me a favor, Jabari, could you type that in the
Awakened Warrior.
Yeah, The Awakened Warrior.
Okay.
The Awakened Warrior. So, and I'm gonna start reading these excerpts because there's some important things we need to understand. Awakening in this regard refers to psychological sleep. Psychological sleep is used to avoid the painful realities that confront human beings. For the so-called white human being, it is avoiding the facts of the death and destruction brought upon the peoples and cultures contacted during forays across this planet. For the so-called minority peoples of this planet, specifically the Black American, it refers to having found relative comfort in captivity. The word captivity is used here to define a condition in which one is forcefully taken from one's cultural setting and placed at the lowest point of another. In addition, one is forced to function for the benefit of the captors, to serve as fuel for their economic empowerment, while suffering a mind-deadening form of structural genocide that destroys the confidence and will of vast numbers of ex-slaves, quote unquote, in America and throughout the world. Known as the Ma'afa, this mass cruelty affects the behavior and mentality of vast numbers of descendants of those originally brutalized to this very day. The path of awakening must be taken up by all who have been lulled to sleep, the descendants of the brutalized and the descendants of the inflictors of that brutality must realize that the descendants of both participants continue to suffer. Racism has negatively impacted both races. No one benefits from the brutalization of a people. Increasing the division between the people of America lends testimony to the dysfunction that has arisen on all levels of society. These conditions require mindful practices to remedy the effects of the stress-filled lives of both victims and victimizers. And I have more to read, but I'm just going to pause if you had any comment on that or not. Otherwise, I'll keep it moving. Again, you can get the Awakened Warrior, Awakened. Matter of fact, let me write the right spelling here.
Oh, okay.
Awakened
I was looking for how to spell his name.
All right. Shaha M. Fundishi Masi. All right, there we go. So, all right, move, keeping it moving. All right, when the energy of an individual is disturbed, neither the body nor the mind will be well balanced. Okay, so we got to look at this in a social context, long term, as a group of people, and we got to look at this as an individual, and then look at your individual family members and certain people you just know, and see what's really going on here. In order to attain liberation and break the chains of limitation, balance must be realized. Once balance has been realized, there is no place in the body-mind that the centralized essential energy cannot reach. This centralized energy is known as Ngolo, the biogenetic rope, gift of the cosmological order given to us by our parents. So Ngolo, also in Asian cultures, is called chi or ki, all right, or life force. in certain cultures. So it becomes clear that the disruption of the cultural practices of the ancestral lineage has contributed to the condition of those who suffer in the state of captivity known as contemporary living or modern living. Often, when speaking to seekers of freedom from pain and confusion and mentioning the truth of suffering, I am told, Baba, suffering is not my reality. I just need to get more information. That is all that I need. Well, the truth is, Black people in America have been gathering information for decades and still live in confusion and misery. Without balance, information cannot lead to transformation. Without an honest assessment of one's condition, words and concepts have no liberating power whatsoever. They are merely food for the ego that tricks and deludes, causing one to feel free. But freedom from delusion cannot be found in words, not balanced by knowing the nature of one's true condition. I'm gonna read that sentence. They are merely food for the ego that tricks and deludes, causing one to feel free. But freedom from delusion cannot be found in words that are not balanced by knowing the nature of one's true condition. Okay, so a little more. He moves forward and speaks about the truth of suffering. It's important to recognize the signs of post-traumatic slave syndrome in the daily lives of Black people as it continues to manifest in communities that share this pain. Here below are a few conditions to consider. Memory problems, inability to concentrate, poor judgment, seeing only the negative. Again, think of yourself and think of other people that you know and have encountered. Anxious or racing thoughts, constant worrying, moodiness, irritability or short temper, agitation or inability to relax, feeling overwhelmed, sense of isolation or loneliness, depression or general unhappiness, aches and pains, apathy, nausea and or dizziness, chest pain, rapid heartbeat. Until the obstruction of the ma'afa is removed from the consciousness of the descendants of the abducted, the remnants of that experience will continue to vibrate in the mind stream and cause turbulence. The obstruction can be removed through the practice of mindfulness based upon the intensity of the question, where is my energy? Where is my mind right now? This enables one to witness their behavior in the moment and become the source of their own liberation. All right, so I urge us all to get that book and read that book. You can, like I said, you can get it off of Amazon. The Awakened Warrior by Shaha Mfundishi Masi. And so the practice of Dikatisa Ngolo, if you want to learn more about it, you can contact me. You can contact the Ma'at Temple. You can contact me. We can get you some instruction. But the main thing is to understand that the problem may seem to be complex, but the solution is simple. It's simple. It's really becoming conscious and doing the things that will help to facilitate your maintaining your consciousness. And so we do things like 865, what my teacher called the 865 breaths. He has a set of 8 different meditation processes that you go through. You know, and one of them, for example, is eating mindfully. You know, how many of us, you know, when it's time to eat, we can't wait for the next bite. When the more you got on that plate, the better you feel. The thought of having like this little portion may feel like, oh man, I don't have enough. It's not enough. Yeah. Then you get that big portion, you eating like you're trying to accomplish something by completing that meal. But mindfully eating will have you slowing down. You slow down your chewing, and you understand that with every bite, especially if you have a variety of different types of food on the plate, your digestive system needs to secrete different types of acids. Mm-hmm. Begin digesting each type of food group. Mm-hmm. So when you're introducing too many different food groups in your mouth at one time, you confuse the system. And these things contribute to our metabolism slowing down because the body like, whoa, okay, I got to deal with this. Oh, now I got to deal with that. You bring it down. Oh, now I got to deal. Oh man, this is too much.
Right.
Let me shut down and just wait until we can figure this thing out, because there's just too much going on.
Right.
And so eating mindfully will cause you to develop eating as a meditation practice.
Right.
You see,
Right.
slowing down, and we find out when we slow down, we eat less.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know, and my spirit has me mentioning this now because that's one of my things that I really, have to, practice, because it's so easy to eat emotionally and be thinking about a whole bunch of stuff. And when you're not mindful when you're eating, you could be eating real quick and not realizing next thing you know it's gone.
Right.
You see, but it's better for your body to see food as not a traumatic event.
Right. Right.
Understand, when we gorge ourselves or when we eat too fast, we're traumatizing the body. The brain shuts down. You have to go to sleep.
And these are things that we all try to teach our children. We're coming up how to control your emotions. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean, not how to, when you get mad, zapping out and all. But that's why we here as parents, like, no, that's not how you're supposed to react when that happens. This is how you're supposed to react. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to throw stuff across the room when stuff like that happen. That's not how you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? And we trying to teach them how to balance out themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I know it's soft when people say, like pastors say, turn the other cheek, but there's a time to turn the other cheek, especially with each other, and I think that now we rarely turn the other cheek on each other.
That's right.
When it's like somebody said, what this Negro just say to me?
Exactly.
And with each other, we go hard, we go at it. Oh, but when we around that, we around the white man, or the power structure, you turn the cheek all day long. Somebody say something, because that's where you get your food, clothing, and shelter, or where you get certain things from. Go work hard all day, but then when you come in that house, it's like, yeah, I'm here now. What's up? And you rarely ever turning the other cheek, when it comes to each other, or even in the street, we ain't turning the other cheek. He said what? He looking at who?
That's right.
And family. I was short. Now it's short. Like I said, back in grandma and granddad in them days, they had stuff too. They would fight each other, but it was, it was different. The family love was different. Things were different, and they wasn't killing each other like they was. And the family structure was stronger back in those days. The family structure was stronger coming out of so-called enslavement. We were stronger because we still loved each other, and we would turn the other cheek. I mean, now a lot of times we took a lot of stuff on the plantation, but not all of us did though. We was in the back planning too, like, okay, all right, And during the day, some people was out there like, yes, massa. Yeah, massa, and at nighttime they was planning on how they, how they was gonna make things right, and how they was getting away, but they couldn't, so they couldn't blow the cover, but like I said, sometimes you got to put things out there like it's seen one way, but it's another way, but and like I said, this is all dealing with, like, even with brother Shahai talking about, balancing and learning how to deal with these things. Meditation, like you said, eating mindfully, music, playing the right music to soothe you, watching the right things, because you can listen to a lot of, the stuff that you look at on TV. You watch too much of that stuff, it becomes you. You are what you eat, and you watching all of these gangster movies or these gangster shows, listening to the gangster songs. And next thing you know, you wide up, you ready to go, you ready to fight, So you got to be mindful of the things that you look at. Now you can look at some of the stuff, but then make sure that you cleanse yourself. You know what I'm saying? That you watch something, you're like, all right, man, I just listened to 50 Cent album. You know what I'm saying? Now let me relax by listening to some jazz or something. You know what I mean? And calm myself back down and get myself back down. Yeah. But the problem you got, most of our young people, they don't have there's no balance. There's no balance of what it is. It's all boom, it's all that aggression all day long. Not even just the young people, the older people too.
Yeah, they get it from the older people. I mean, look at the government. Look at the war.
Yeah.
You know, the war's going on. I mean, we can't figure something else out besides blowing people to smithereens. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the turn the other cheek. So let me give you the real science of turn the other cheek. It really means to turn another channel of the brain, turn to
Right.
another channel of your brain. So we see it as, you know, we going, you know, let somebody smack us in the face and then give them the other cheek to smack.
Yeah.
No. It's when someone offers you a certain type of energy and it's unhealthy, you don't got to respond in that same unhealthy way.
Exactly.
You can activate and utilize a different part of your brain and
Exactly.
elevate the engagement.
Exactly.
And like somebody said, too much liver energy. It says Facebook user, so I don't know exactly who that is. But yes, too much liver energy, because when the liver is overburdened with toxins, usually what the characteristic that comes forth is anger.
Right.
You know, and that's why you know, like for people, like we know people that like drink a lot of alcohol and have liver problems. You know, some people become angry alcoholics, you know.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just too much tax on the liver. You know, and then when you got liver issues, most likely you need to do something with your kidneys too. You know, although, you know, the kidneys, the negative aspect or the psychological aspect of when the kidneys are out of balance is fear and worry.
Right.
You see, and so when you got fear and you got worry, usually anger accompanies that. Because you're tense, because you have tension, and you need to relieve the tension, but relieving the tension needs to be done in healthy ways.
Right.
And so soothing the activating the vagus nerve and doing the practices that soothe it involves when you're laying, when you're sitting, when you're standing, and when you're moving. Be mindful. Be mindful of your breathing. Be mindful of your entire body, your level of relaxation, and be mindful of where your mind is right now. What are you thinking? Are you thinking from your higher self? Or are you thinking from the self that is just, you know, ego driven?
Exactly.
For your own protection.
Exactly.
You know, and then so you got to be able to distinguish between what are the thoughts that usually come from the higher self and what are the quality of thoughts and feelings that come from the ego driven self. You see, and the more we practice our breathing exercises and our things like Ngolo practices, we call it Dikatisa Ngolo, but it's also in other forms called Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, those type of things. But you also have to make sure you meditate. And when you're in meditation, you got to zero out the register, meaning you go to the state of zero attachments and you lose your identity. You not lose your identity, but you remember that your true identity is not the personality, and you become the observer, and you just breathe and you just enjoy nothing, meaning you enjoy the state of nothingness or no things. Okay, so nothing means no things, meaning you're not preoccupied with the objects of your life, with your physical environment or the situations going on in your imagination, imagining the future, reflecting on the past. No, in your meditation moments, you want to be clear. And when you develop your ability to really to lengthen your time being in that state of clarity, that's where you get your ultimate healing, your mental healing and rejuvenation, your emotional healing and rejuvenation, and your physical healing and rejuvenation. Now, when we go to sleep at night, we know that that sleep is one of the greatest healers. But sometimes we wake up stressful, you know, after sleep because we're not relaxed enough in our sleep state. And when we're not relaxed enough in our sleep state, we're not going to experience what is called non-rapid eye movement or the REM state. We steady dreaming and dreaming and dreaming, and you kind of might be disturbed in your sleep. But the true healing when you sleep happens when you travel to what is called amenta or Musoni, which is the realm of no things, the source of all things. And when you travel there in that ultimate stillness, that's the real underworld. That's when you get your deepest sleep and your rejuvenation. But in order to get better sleep, we have to, while we are awake, relieve our tension the most in the best possible way, so that when we rest, we truly rest. And so that's why it's ideal to, before you lay down and go to sleep, do your meditating, do your breathing, relax the body, relax the mind. Understand that whatever you are going through today and may go through tomorrow is all temporary, and it's based on the temporary drama that we created while we are here temporarily. But this is not the ultimate reality of our existence throughout eternity. This is just a short time. Detach yourself from it periodically so that you can feel what it means to be ultimately free.
Definitely.
And that's 1 hour right there.
on the dime.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, man, that was a definitely beautifully said. Beautifully said. We got to learn how to have self-control. We got to learn how to meditate. We got to learn how to pray. All of the ancient scriptures talk about that. All of the from the Bible to the Quran to Ifa, or whatever it is that you follow, all of them talk about different ways to control the different attributes of who you are, and knowing when to use them and how to use them. And like you said, and can you take a hit in the face when it's time to take a hit, and then be able to ignore it for the better good? Because if I fight back right now, I'm gonna get all of these other people in danger that's here with me right now. That's sometimes the bravest thing to do, to look like I guess a so-called chump at that any given time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just knowing how and when to be wise and how to handle situations, because right now we in a dangerous situation with our people today, wherever you're talking about, our young people in the street or the suites, wherever it may be, black male and woman relationships, the family structure that we're going through right now. A lot of those different things are weak right now because a lot of us don't know how to control our emotions. And and so therefore, we got a lot of things that's going on, that we need to heal, especially number one, the family structure. We do have Brother Nori coming out, Brother Nori Muhammad coming out.
Oh yeah, I love that, brother.
That's gonna be Father's Day weekend that we're gonna have brother coming out. And his topic is going to be how to love a black woman, how to love a black man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what the topic is. Yeah. So what I'm saying? Okay. So that's going to happen. We're putting the flyers out, coming up soon, and doing a lot of promotions on that event.
That brother has a wonderful perspective of manhood and what it is to be a husband and a man. I love this brother's perspective.
Yeah, man. Because their theme has been through the Nation of Islam is healing the family. Like that's been their theme, for the year, for this year, healing the family, because that is where our strength comes from. If that family is strong, we can do the things that we need to do, and we gotta, so that's why we do the temple. That's why we do Maya Temple Elevation. And it's not easy because we starting from from the bottom and building things up and getting our rules and regulations and our spiritual system in place and intact. But there's a lot of people who don't have anything out there. There's a lot of people who not going to the mosque, not going to the church, not going anywhere in general, not going to the to the different African religions and all that we have. They're not going anywhere, so they just kind of out there by themselves, and we all need something. Like with the song, so we all need somebody to lean on. You think you don't need nobody to lean on, but we all need somebody to lean on, because believe me, if you live long enough, you keep living, it's gonna be things that's gonna happen. Great things that's gonna happen where it's gonna be like, yeah, but it's gonna be some things that's gonna be that can knock you on your back.
That's
you need somebody to be standing over top of you to be able to reach that hand down and pull you up. you know, or your car won't start, you know what I mean, metaphorically, you know, your car won't start and you need a hot shot, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean, and that brother or sister may come and, hey, my battery dead, my battery is drained, you know what I'm saying? And somebody come over and be able to give you a hot shot to help you get back up. I mean, get your car, give it that spark that it needs, you know, to continue to run. So we all need that, and that's why we do what we do. So please subscribe, brothers and sisters, to the channel. You know, hope you support what we do. If you want to make donations, we really appreciate your donations. That you got the donations going across. You could do that to the Cash App, Super Chat, or whatever. But yeah, man, let's elevate as a people. Let's continue to, you know, try to motivate others, and you know, protect ourselves. You know what I mean? Make sure that our soul is okay, that our soul is covered. You know, a lot of times in the so-called conscious community, people don't have anything, and they wind up actually really being by themselves. You know, they hate the church. They hate, you know what I mean? Some of them hate the, you know what I mean? They hate, you know what I mean, the Hebrew Israelites or whatever. But I do have respect for anybody that join any of those organizations, you know, who, you know, are protecting their soul and making sure that, you know, the way that they see life, that they protecting themselves. I watch the Jehovah's Witnesses out when I take my walk every day. Older lady, old black woman, old black men walking around because they believe what they have can help to heal other people. So they go out in droves, knocking on people's doors, giving out their information because they think that it can help to heal the world and heal the people. And we got to feel the same way, even as conscious people. So you got to ask yourself, how much are you doing? What you believe right now? You know what I'm saying? In your bubble, are you out? Would you teach this to somebody else? You know what I mean? To help them to elevate themselves. So, you know, that's what this thing is all about. So we thank y'all for joining in. You got anything else you want to close out with, Brother Simby?
No. This feels complete for the day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, family. Well, we hope y'all have a beautiful, wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week. And, you know, love y'all and peace and blessings.
Peace.